So, a very famous and highly popular algorithm. Okay, we are going to learn highly popular algorithm among the machine learning community. This algorithm is the key algorithm, backpropagation learning algorithm. So today's class, we are going to learn this. So wherever you feel uncomfortable or you didn't understand something, you can stop me and you can ask. Okay, is my voice audible clearly? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, it's clear.
Yeah, fine now. Okay, so you are all seeing the screen clearly. Okay. So this is something. Look at this. We have a multi-layered feed-forward network here. So we would like to work with for this multi-layered feed-forward network. We would like to apply the gradient descent rule. Okay, so we know how to apply the gradient descent rule for single-layered perceptron. Using logistic neuron, we already learned. Okay, so Nitish Kapra's lecture, we have seen that how to apply for a single-layered feed-forward network using the gradient descent learning rule. We have learned how to apply it. Now look at this case. I have one more hidden layer here. From this hidden layer, it's going to output layer. So this is the input layer. Input. This is the input layer, and this is a hidden layer. Okay, so hidden layers, and this is output layer. Totally, we have these 3 layers. Normally, we will be taking this as a 2-layered network. The input layers will not be considered. Okay, so this will be called as a 2-layered. 2-layer means what? You have one hidden layer and one output layer. Okay, that's a 2-layered network. If it is 3, you have 2 hidden layers and one output layer. Okay, so that's the idea. Now look at this neural network. It is fully connected neural network. Okay, for example, if you take this first neuron, this neuron is connected to this neuron, okay, through this weight. Okay, and this neuron is also connected to this neuron, and the last neuron is also connected from the input layer to the hidden layer to this first hidden neuron. The same manner, the second neuron is also connected, okay, to all the 3 input neurons. The third here also, the last one here, okay, it's connected. So it's kind of fully connected network. We are not leaving any weights as 0. Okay, we are completely connecting everything. And the first input layer, okay, we have bias neurons also. Bias neurons is connected to this also. Okay, not only to the hidden layer, bias neurons is also there for the first input. Okay, the first layer also. Sorry. Okay, so this is bias neurons. It's a bias neuron for the first layer. For all the neurons, it's connected. Okay, all the neurons bias will be. So till the last one, this one. So this is the kind of structure we are going to discuss today. So be very clear about some of the notations that I'm going to tell you right now. Okay. Now look at this kind of data set we are going to handle. This T is going to be XK DK. What is this XK? The XK is the patterns of input and DK is the desired patterns of output. Okay, so if you look at this data clearly, XK belongs to what? N-dimensional real plane, okay, and DK belongs to 3-dimensional real. So if that is the case, for example, if it is going to be R3, 3-dimensional, if you take any one of this X, you go to X1 for example, you going to take, it will look like this, 1, 2, 3. It's a single column, 3-element vector. Okay, that's the first pattern. Then like that you have how many patterns? You have, can you tell me how many patterns we have like that? By looking at this notation. DK, for example, can belongs to a 2-dimensional. Okay, the 3 output can be 3, 4. This may be D1, for example. Like that, how many patterns we have in this data set? Anyone?
3, sir.
No. Carefully look at the data. This is pattern 1. Okay, it is a 3-dimensional pattern. So you have 1, 2, 3. The data can be marked as a point in this 3-dimensional plane. Okay, this X data. You are mapping it to what? D data. That is 2-dimensional. As a point 3, 4, for example. Okay, you are going to mark this data, map this from X to D. That is a labeled data set, you call it. Like that, how many data we have here? Like this. Look at carefully notation. We have K equal to 1 to 2. So you have few such patterns. Okay, X1, X2, X3, like that, it goes up to K, X2. Like that, D1, D2, it goes up to D. Is it all right? Can you see it clearly, the data set? Each one is a 3-element vector. If it is belonging to R3, it can be R4, R5, it can go up to Rn also. Likewise, dk, d1, d2, d3 can also go to dk or p also. It's a p-dimensional. It even can be n also, no problem. Okay, but a different notation I have given. So xk, dk indicates the labeled data set what we have here, and we have few such pairs. Okay, x1, d1, x2, d2, x3, d3. Like that, xq, dq we have. Each x is a 3-element vector or 2-element vector based on the dimension of the data set. Is it all right? Can you give one example for this kind of a data set? For example, X1. The pattern can be A1, 2, 3. What it can represent? Can somebody give an example? This 1, 2, 3 can represent what? We have seen an example in the last class. Can you recall that? So in fact, it can be like an image like this. Okay. So dark region, this is dark, this is dark, this is dark. So you can represent a vector like 1, 0, 0, 0, like this. It's a 4-dimensional vector. Okay, remember that. So this white region is 1, the rest of the regions you take it as 0. Dark region is 0. In that case, it is an R4 data. Okay, so the X is going to be R4. Output can be anything. Okay, it can be 1 or 2-element or 3-element in it. You can fix like. So the input and targets are fixed here. Is it clear? Anybody having difficulty in understanding this? Can I proceed? Can I proceed? Abhijit, did you get the point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's the first step. So we are thinking of a multi-layered feed-forward neural network, and we are going to employ the gradient descent algorithm in order to work out a learning algorithm using the back propagation method. Okay. So we have some notations like this. For data set I have given. Now the same manner can proceed for the notations also. Okay. So if you look at this data, so what are all the things you are seeing here? The number of neurons is in the input layer. Okay, what is that? We have how many? We have n plus 1. Okay, you can clearly see the first layer. We are starting from 1, 2, like that. We are starting from bias. Okay, bias normally the input is 1, but there will be a weight. Remember that. Okay, but for the input case, there won't be any weight. Okay, so then we have x1, x2 goes on till x n. So how many neurons we have here? 0 to n. 0 to n, I am calling it as n plus 1. Okay, and likewise in the hidden neuron, I have something like 0, 1, 2, 3, like that. It goes on to some level. So starting from the bias. Okay, but there is a weight here. Okay, normally there is a weight here. So then we have the output also. So here how many neurons we have? Q. Okay, Q plus 0, 1, 2 like that up to Q plus 1 neuron, hidden neurons. And in the output you have P neurons. Okay, P neurons. So G, 1, 2, 3 like that. You have to go up to P. So there is no, there is a bias also there. Okay, so naturally you should start from 0. The output is also having bias. Okay. So you have to understand this notation very clearly. So this is starting from bias. There is a weight 0, 1, go up to P. Okay, it goes up to P. There are P neurons, and that is the output. Okay. So now, you got it? Yeah. Then only output we have the bias connected to all the neurons, but there are only P neurons. Okay, there will be only P neurons. Okay, keep that in mind. There will be only P neurons. Then the signal functions are the input layer we have linear functions, and in the hidden layer we have sigmoidal functions, and in the output layer also we have sigmoidal functions. All right. Okay. So totally you have a Q plus 1 neurons here in the hidden layer, N plus 1 in the input layer, and P neurons in the output layer. And the neuron index range also varying from I is equal to 0 to N in this case, neuron index range. H here, index range H is going to be 0 to Q, and J is going to be 1 to P. Okay, it's going to start from 1 to P for the jth neuron. That is this one. The only difference is output is going to be 1 to P. Okay. And then we have the activation functions, Xi, ZH, YG. Okay, they are the activation functions. The activation function, can you recall what is that activation? Total value. Okay, the value that's going to get accumulated. So for example, okay, the activation function for the any one of the hidden layer, okay, it's going to receive input from the previous layer. It may be from X1, it may be from X2, maybe from X3. Okay. So if it's going to receive this, then you'll be adding all those, summing up all those values multiplied by the corresponding values of weights and inputs. So this summation you call it as the activation. Okay, the summation you call it as the activation. So for the input you call the activation as Xi, and for the hidden layer you call it as ZH, and for the output layer you call it as YJ. And after this activation is over, we will pass that value to a function. That is a sigmoidal function. That we call it as f of Xi, f of ZH, f of YJ. So you pass it through the function, and then you take the output. Okay. So for each layer, you have to perform this summation initially, that is activation, and then pass on that summation to a function, that is a sigmoidal function. So in our problem, we are going to choose only sigmoidal function. Z of H. Okay, this one. All right. Okay. Any doubt in this? Anything you want to tell again? Want to tell again? Can I proceed? Okay, the number of neurons as well as the signal functions, and then the activation function followed by the sigmoidal function. That is the signal value by f of Xi, f of H. Okay, this is the first step involved in the derivation. Okay, so if you look at this, when you are going for understanding this, always remember this diagram followed by this data set. Then you have to think about this particular notation. Okay, NQP, remember that, NQP. Input is N, hidden is Q. You want to represent any one of that neuron in the input, use the index I. I is going to be varying from 0 to M. H is varying from 0 to Q. J is varying from 1 to Q. Remember that. Okay. Okay, now look at this. Now if you didn't do output layer weights are given like this. Okay. And then input to hidden layer weights are given like this. Okay. Weight updates. We know this. Okay. New weight is equal to old weight plus the delta change. What is this delta? Can you recall this? Can somebody tell me what is this delta? What is delta? It's a gradient. Okay, dou E by dou W H. Okay, this is what we have to compute. So what is Hj? What is this really indicates? It's a hidden to output layer weights. How can you visualize that? Here it is. Hidden to output layer. So this set of weights, the weights that are between here. This is hidden set. Hj. Okay, as I already told you, hidden layer. So J is a notation for the output layer. Is it clear? H is a notation for hidden layer. So the weights are connecting hidden layer with the output layer. Therefore Hj. That is what WHJ indicates. Is it clear? And likewise, input to hidden layer weights are given by IH. The notation, you can clearly see what is that notation? I and H. IH. Okay. So that is what this weight, IH weight. WIH, K. K indicates the particular iteration. Okay. So you can think of that particular iteration. K to K plus 1 iteration, you can do more. So then what is that we are interested in computing? We are interested in computing these two deltas. So the problem to you is to have to compute these two data. What is this? What is this? You understand? So that's what we are going to do. So this entire derivation we'll be talking about dou E by dou IHK and then dou E by dou WHJ. So far, anything you want me to repeat? Everything is all right? You understood what we are trying to do? We are interested in updating the weights. Okay, both the weights. WIHK plus 1, WHJ K plus 1. Got it? Now we proceed. Now look at this. So now we are going to move the first input layer. Okay, we are going to use a linear function. So the input layer, whatever it receives, is going to give the same output. Now look at this input case. We see it input. Okay, the input node 1. Okay. Node 1 is going to give an input. So it's receiving inputs. It's a linear function. Okay, whatever xik it's going to receive, it's the same output is going to receive. We're going to get x1, its output is also going to be x1. Understand? That's a linear function here we are talking about. Okay, so that's the output you'll be getting. See here, the first neuron, the output is going to be, it's receiving input from only x1. The second neuron is receiving input only from x2. The third, that is the nth neuron is receiving input only from xn. You understand? So naturally, so the output is all going to be the same. So that's the idea we need to have it in mind. That's the input layer function. So I have n such neurons. I have n such neurons. So then f of x0 k is going to be equal to 1 primarily because what? It's going to be the function that's going to come out of this one. So there is no bias. Okay, this bias is not going to be updated with respect to weights and all. So it's going to be fixed one for the first neuron. Is that right? Can you see it? So this bias, I'm talking about this bias. This value is going to be 1 always, and that will be connected to all the neurons. Bias is 1, and there are no weights associated with it. No weights. So naturally 1 will be connected to all the input neurons. The same manner, this weight, this 1 is going to be connected to all. Okay, so that side. Okay. So for the hidden layer, what will happen? The hidden layer, it's going to receive input from the previous layer. That is this one, this output, f of xik. That's going to be x of xi of k. So then multiplied by the corresponding weights. You agree? So for example, neuron, for example, the first node in the hidden layer. What it receives? It receives input from x1. It receives input from x2. All the other neurons. Okay, you have so many neurons that are on the first layer. All these are connected to the first node in the hidden layer. So in that case, there will be weights associated with it. So this is neuron 1. Therefore, it's going to be W11. Second one is going to be W21. The last one is going to be WN1. You agree? So that is what this one indicates. So the first neuron in the hidden layer, this one, This one is going to receive input from all other previous layers. Is it clear? Anybody having difficulty visualizing it? Okay, but all those values are what? The first one is going to be f of xik. For x of xi is 1. That's the first one. So, but that value is going to be only xik because you already seen directly is giving the output. It receives the input and gives out. First layer, input layer is not doing any kind of learning is not happening in the input layer. So there are no weights, nothing. Simply it receives the input and it passes on. That's all. So naturally this f of xik is going to be xik only. And this is what is happening. The activation value for the hidden node for any one of the node is going to be Z1, for example, but the first one is going to be Z1. It's going to be this way. If I'm going to have 3 in the input layer, 3 nodes in the input layer, it's going to be W1, X1, okay, plus W21, X2, plus W31. That is the input for the first node. If I'm going to have 3 inputs, okay, X1, X2, X2. Is it all right? Everybody with me? Can you clearly visualize this? Anybody having difficulty? You want me to repeat?
So can you repeat once?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking you. Okay, listen carefully. So we are talking about neurons. Okay, the first input layer is like this. Let us imagine I have 3 neurons. What is the first one? It's going to be X1. What is the second one? It's going to be X2. What is the third one? It's going to be X3. Okay, and I'm connecting 1 to all the 3. There is a 1, is a bias. I'm connecting it to all the 3. So then this is the output. What is the function here? The input layer. It receives the input and gives the same output. Linear function. Nothing, no learning, nothing is happening. No weights here also. Okay, absolutely no weights at the input layer. But at the hidden layer, you take any one of the neuron. Okay, what happens? It is going to receive this neuron 1 in the hidden layer. It's going to receive input from this, all the three. So naturally, there are weights here, hidden weights. Okay, that is represented by WH, IH. This is the index for input layer. This is the index for hidden layer. I told you already. So index I varies from what? I varies from, for this case, can you tell me how many how I will vary? I varies from?
Sir, 0 to 2.
0 to 3. 0 to 2, sorry. 0 to 2. Okay, 0, 1, 2, 3. 3 is there. The last one is 3. Okay, 0 to 3 means here you have one more bias also is connected for hidden layer. This weight is also has to be updated. 0H. Okay, so this is important. This 0H has to be updated. So naturally, you are going to have 0, 1, 2, 3. So this is going to be W1, 1. Can you tell me this is W21, W31? This is neuron number 1 in the hidden layer. So what it will do? It will take the summation of all this. W11 X1 plus W21 X2 plus W31 X3 plus this W0 H. Okay, this summation. W0 H is 1. Therefore, the value it is going to receive is 1. Okay, into 1. So this is a bias we are talking about. Okay, so this is the kind of network I am talking about. So I varying from 0 to n here 3. Okay, n is 3. This is n. 1 to n, and there is one bias, you are adding it. Okay, so there is no point in adding one here. Okay, you take that, no weights. So only here, only the hidden neuron only we are putting the weights, W0, because the weights are involved between, is connected between the hidden and the input layer. The weights are involved. So naturally you have W0H, 0H is 1 here, because I am talking about the first neuron. So likewise, we can do it for the second neuron. Second neuron is now going to receive input from all the 3. 1, 2, 3, along with the bias. Okay, that's going to be W02. Okay, W02. So then this is going to be W01. Okay, 1 1, W22, sorry, W12, W22, W32. So that's what the next. Is it all right? Everybody understood this? Anybody having difficulty? Look at the notation carefully, then you can understand it. Okay, notation is H for the hidden, I for the input, then you can work out like this. Okay, like this. Yeah, this is the notation. So you can now clearly see I equal to 0 to 3 for our case. I equal to 0 to 3, WIH K, f of xik. F of xik, as I already told you, it's a linear function. It's going to be the same value, xik. With the h varying between 1 to 2. For each h, you have to compute that. Each h means what? Each neuron in the hidden layer. Okay, you have to compute this. Each neuron in the hidden layer receives input from all the other neurons from the previous layer. That's the key point. Okay, each neuron, okay, each neuron in the hidden layer receives input from all the inputs from the previous layer. Okay, that is important. So naturally, I'm going to have this kind of summation for computed for each neuron. Now, having computed the summation, I'm going to pass it through the sigmoidal function. So this is my output of the hidden neuron. The output of the hidden neuron is going to be the summed up value is going to be passed through the linear summation. The linear summation is the linear summed up value will be passed through a sigmoidal function like this. For each neuron, I can compute this value, and that will be the output of my k. And z naught k is going to be 1 naught. Remember that. Okay, that's a bias for all k. Okay. One. For the output layer also, we have to do it. Now, for the output layer, how do you compute? Now we have computed the hidden layer output. Okay, this is a hidden layer output. This is a hidden layer output. Now we are going to pass on this signal to what? From this point, this is the hidden layer output you have computed, and from this point it is going to be given to the output layer. So the output layer is going to receive the output like this. Okay, the output is computed. Activation you have to compute. Each node there in the output layer receives input from the previous layers. This is Y1, for example. It receives input from all other the hidden neurons. All other hidden neurons. And each one you have already computed the values. Okay, so these are all the values you have computed. That's going to get multiplied with the corresponding weights of the water. The weights connecting the hidden neuron with the output layer. That is given by WHG. This J indicates the notation for output layer. We already seen that. I hope you can recall. This is a J. Look at this. J is there for the output. J equal to 1 to P. There are P such neurons in the output. Okay, so that's what this one indicates. Okay, J. For each output neuron, you have to compute this. WHJK for ZH. Everybody with me? Anybody having difficulty? You want me to repeat again? Something? Something is not clear? Please ask. Where we are right now? So we have computed for the hidden neuron. For one hidden neuron, it receives input from all input layers. Okay? And we have computed this summation. Okay, WIH. Okay, then XIK. Okay, with I varying from 0 to n. And you pass this to a function. Okay, the function is UZIH. That's the function. That's the log sigmoidal function. It means this value, whatever you have computed, this will be passed through a function. Okay. So then after computing this is output of one hidden neuron. So we have how many such neurons in the hidden layer? Look at carefully here. We have Q such neurons in the hidden layer. Okay. So we have to compute for all the Q such neurons like this. 2 neurons like this. So everything is passed through a function like this. Same function. Okay. Is that H is going to be taking the value Q. Okay. Here it is going to be I. This is going to be H1, I1. Okay. So is that I? So that's a kind of a thing we are talking about. Look at this. Yeah. WH, this one, previous, yeah, WIH K XI. You understand? So ZHK. You not take, you remove the I here. ZH, because you're talking about only one output, one hidden layer, only one neuron the hidden. So ZHK, H equal to 1 to K. Then this out. Now, the same manner, J equal to 1 to P. We are going to do it for the output layer also. Okay, f of ZHK, WHJ. Now we are passing that same output yjk through the sigmoidal function like this, minus yjk. Okay, for j equal to 1 to p, you have to compute yjk fully. Once you have finished this, then you are entering into something called error function. So this is what we are going to do. So we know we know the labeled data output, that's a desired one. Okay, we know what is the error then, because the function of yjk is the output of the any one neuron, okay, the jth neuron, for example. That is a function of yjk. You'll be comparing that with the djk and compute the error. And likewise, you compute it for all the patterns. Okay, get the error, then update the corresponding weights. Which weight? This weight we are going to update. That is between hidden layer and the output layer. Okay, so yjk, then the error will be back propagated like this. This is the yjk activated function value, and then we are going to do it. Now this is the E of k will be computed. Okay. So for ek, E1 to p, for each neuron you are going to get an error. Okay, there will be a corresponding label data. This ek is nothing but for one pattern you got this data. Okay. So likewise, you can compute the error for all the neurons in the output, and then you can compute the mean square error for the complete set of data also. For k equal to 1 to q set of data we can compute that also. So we can update the weights in two modes. One is the batch mode, another one is pattern mode. Pattern mode means we'll give one pattern, you collect the error, and then you update the weight, and then you do it for the second pattern, you can update the weight. That is like pattern mode. But batch mode, you give all the patterns one by one, accumulate all the error, and then you update the weight finally. Okay, you understand the difference. So you can do it in two ways. Okay. So can somebody tell me what is this diagram tells you? What is that you are inferring from this diagram? Anyone from the class? Is the notations are clear? Is the notations are clear? Anybody having difficulty in understanding notations? Are we updating the weights related to the bias also of the hidden layer and the output layer? Anyone in the class? Who can explain this diagram? An important diagram. What is it we are doing here? What is f of yjk? Is it clear? What is f of yjk? Guruparan?
Our hidden log sigmoid function. Log sigmoid function.
Sigmoidal function at the output node. Okay, output neuron. The sigmoidal function computed at the output node. That is output. Okay, this neuron, any one of the j neurons we have in the output. For any one of the neurons, you can compute it. For all the neurons, then you can compute this. So this is output then. This output you are comparing the desired output and get the error. Based on the error, we are going to do what? We are going to update the weights between the hidden layer and the output layer. Okay. So, but that we have to compute it in two different stages by applying something called the chain rule. Chain rule of calculus. Okay. That's the only fundamental thing in this idea. Okay. If you understand that, it is over. Now look at this. Now this is a chain rule. Now what is that we are looking for? We are interested in seeing the impact of the weights WHJ on the error. We would like to see how this error changes, the final error changes based on the change in the weights that are between a hidden layer on the output layer. Still, we have to understand there are two layers. There are weights here also, there are weights here also. Right now we are at this stage. Okay, WHG. What about this weight? Is WIH. We are not talking about this right now. Okay, keep this in mind. We are talking about only this weight between hidden and the output. Between input and hidden also influencing the error. That's very obvious. Okay, but right now we are going to work out this error only. This error with respect to WHG. Okay, WHG. WH. Am I audible? Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine. So WHG. So this is what we are going. So how we are going to proceed? So we know this error, total error they are computed, okay, dou EK by dou FYJK. What is that? FYJK is the output. First you find out the derivative of that. How this error changes with respect to the output, and then how the output changes with respect to the activation YJK. That is activation summation. Okay, W previous layer weights and the corresponding inputs. Okay, previous layer weights and the corresponding input HK. Okay, so that's what this YJK. Then how that YJK is going to vary with respect to HJK. That's how this chain of chain rule really works. Okay, it's a chain rule. Basically, we are trying to partial derivative. We are trying to find out the partial derivative of EK with respect to the output. How output is changing with respect to VJK, and how VJK is varying with respect to WH. Then easily you can compute this value dou EK by dou WHJK. So now we can compute one by one these three values. We know this. Okay, we know how to compute the first one. What is this? This is nothing but this value. Remember, we already know this. What is that? Yeah, this one. So if you find out the derivative of this with respect to this f of yjk, what do you get? This two get cancelled. You are going to get minus of this error. Okay, that's what we are going to do. That's what we are going to do. Okay, two get cancelled. This we get this minus of this entire term. That is nothing but minus ejk for any one of the output node. Whatever error we have, that's going to be that value for the kth iteration. Okay, so then you do it for dou ijk, yjk by dou yj. What is this? Can somebody recall this immediately? What is f of yjk? That's a sigmoid. Okay, if I'm going to find out the sigmoidal function derivative with respect to yjk, we learned from Nitish Kapra's lecture that is nothing but the first derivative is nothing but function of yjk multiplied by 1 minus yjk. So go back and see the derivation again. So I'm going to find out the derivative of this kind of function. Okay, some yj. Okay, so I'm going to find out the derivative of this function with respect to this yj. That is going to be nothing but the same function into 1 minus f of y. That's what you'll be getting. Okay, so that's what in fact we are computing. The first derivative. I told you that long time back. I hope you can recall. So that's the first derivative. Then you go for dou yjk by dou whjk. That is nothing but f of zhk. Why? What is that yjk? Yjk is what? We already derived it. Look at this. This is yjk. If I'm going to find out the derivative of this with respect to whj, I'm going to get this only function. Okay, so that's what I have written. That's what it is. Okay, so we have computed all the three. 1, 2, 3. This one comes from the property of finding out the derivative of sigmoidal function. We already learned that from the Nitish Kapra's lecture. Okay, finding out the derivative of what do you call a sigmoidal function. That value can be computed directly without finding the derivative. I said. Then dou yjk by dou whjk comes from this expression. Okay, so if I'm going to find out the derivative of this with respect to this, okay, I'm going to have only this. That's the term I have written here. Okay, now put it all three together. We're going to put it everything together. We would have this kind of expression for dou ek by dou whjk. That is this expression. Everybody with me here? Anybody having difficulty in understanding this? how we are computing the three derivatives for computing this value, dou ek by dou w h j k. Anybody wants me to repeat? All right, understand this? Okay, now that's this value. Now you proceed. Now if you look at this gradient, how it looks like, the flow is like this. This is the output of the final layer. Output. Okay, this comes through the sigmoidal function. Okay, that's the output of final. Now we are computing the gradient comfortably by taking this term 1 minus f of yjk into into this one. This is what f of. If I multiply these two, I'm going to get the first gradient f dash yjk, and you can directly take this ejk by comparing this output with the what do you call the desired output. With the desired output, if I compare this data yjk, this desired output, I can compute immediately the error. That's the error. This error. The error is there. First derivative is there. And what about this? This is from the previous slide. F z h k. If I'm going to take all these three together, I'm going to have a function dou ek by dou w h j. So this is these two multiplied together. Now this is, you call it as the gradient. Gradient related to the hidden and the output layer. Delta jk. So delta jk is a key term. It's nothing but f dash jk into ej. That is nothing but these two multiplied 1 minus f jk into f jk. Into ej. That is what is delta term. Delta jk. Okay, and that is multiplied by what? F z h. Delta jk f z h. Function of it. What is this? This is coming from again the exponential functions. Okay, from the previous slide. So this is getting multiplied. It's more like this delta getting scaled by this term. Okay, this term. Delta j. So that is this output. Now that's the computation for this line. Now you look at this. So now we are going to look at input to hidden layer weight gradients. Same manner. We have djk, ek, fyjk. I'm going to compute the error. I'm going to update this weight. This we already see how to update this. Now we are going to take it further, back propagate. Okay, and we are going to update this weight. Okay, WIH. How we are going to do the same gradient descent based chain rule we are going to employ. But in this case, now WIH for the given error, how this WIH is going to influence that error. Okay, what is the change in error with respect to WIH? That's given by dou ek by dou f s zhk, and then zhk by zhk, function of zhk by zhk by WIH. So that's how we operate. Okay, so you can clearly see that the chain rule how it is operated. So this can be computed comfortably. Now look at there is one important point that you have to note here. Dou ek by dou f zhk. Yeah, so far any difficulty in understanding this? Anywhere, any problems? Can you understand clearly? So we are starting with the backpropagation learning algorithm like this, a multi-layered feed-forward network. We have two layers with one input layer also. One is the hidden layer, another one is the output layer. And input layer, we don't have any weights, no weights. There are weights between input layer and hidden layer, and the hidden layer and output layer. Okay, that's what we see. And we have a set of data, and we are going to train this network using a very famous algorithm called backpropagation burst learning algorithm. And I have defined the notations for the given multi-layered perceptron neural network. And here we have the number of neurons n+1, q+1, and p. Okay, and the signal functions are linear, sigmoidal, and sigmoidal. And the neuron index ranges between I equal 0 to n, h is equal 0 to q, and j is equal to 1 to p. The activation functions are xi, zh. H indicates notation for the hidden neurons, and yj, j indicates notation for the output neuron. The signals are f of xi, f of zh, f of these are nothing but linear here, sigmoidal here, sigmoidal here. Okay. So then we proceeded to find out the two important updations. One is the dou E by dou IHK, another one is dou E by dou HJK. This is between hidden and the output neuron. This is between I input and the hidden neuron, the weights, based on the error. Okay. So you need to compute this kind of updated weights. Okay, that's what we wanted to perform. So this we are doing it by propagation in the forward mode first. So we are taking the input and passing it through the input neurons. And the input neurons, we don't have it, nothing. We are passing on the data, that's all. So that data is now passed through second hidden layer. Okay, the hidden layer receives input from the input layer like this and gets multiplied by the weights, and they are computing the activation values for the each hidden neuron. Each hidden neuron is going to do this operation. Okay. So for example, this is going to be DZ1. First neuron in the hidden layer will perform this operation. That's nothing but W1, okay, 1, 1. And the f of xik is going to be only xik, therefore it's going to be x. Is it clear? So plus W21 x plus W31 x. That's this operation. Okay, the summation. In fact, tells you for each I is a notation for the input rate. From I equal to 0 to 3, we are going to perform this. Okay, so for each, and then you go for each neuron, you compute this, and then you pass on that activation function to the sigmoidal function. That is what this f of zh. That's you computing it. This is a value I'm talking about. This is nothing but the summation. This value. 2, 1, x2, 3, 1, x3. That is this value. Now, after passing that through it, we are going to have next layer. The same manner. Now, this is going to be the output of the hidden layer, and that will be passed through the weights to the output layer. So, any one of the output neuron is going to perform this operation. For example, y1 is going to have this complete operation. S equal to 0 to q is going to vary, and I am going to update. Therefore, that is the f of yjk will be completing that one. And f of yjk is nothing but having computed this, to pass it through sigmoidal function. This activation through the sigmoidal, and that is what this value. This value. Okay. So then you pass it on that one through, you get the output now. You have received the output. Now the output has to be compared with the desired value, and then you compute the error like this. Based on the error, I am going to update the weights. Weights of what? Weights of the hidden layer and the output, the weights between the hidden layer and the output layer first, followed by the weights between the input layer and the hidden layer. So I am doing it by employing the chain rule here. When I am employing the chain rule, one important point that I have to note here is, when I am going to find out a sigmoidal function with respect to the corresponding yjk value, find out the derivative of it, I will be getting something like this: f of yjk 1 minus f of yjk. So that you plug it in here, and the first one is going to be nothing but minus ekj, direct computation. The last one also direct computation, f of zh2. So you put all these three together, you can compute the first gradient. Okay, this gradient is given like this. The flow is like this. Clearly, you can visualize the gradient flow. The delta jk, f of zjk, you have this computed value. This is the final output, final gradient. Computed like this. Okay, so you can, once you do some hand calculations of all this, once you can easily understand how we are doing all this. But right now, try to think about this delta jk. Okay, what is this? Why do we need to compute this? What has happened? Okay, think about that. So that's where we stand now. So far, any doubt anywhere? you want me to repeat again before we proceed? Is it all right? Okay. So now we are going to move to input to the hidden layer weight gradient. Now for that, what we are doing again, we are going to take the error, and then the error is now back propagated. This is called back propagation. Okay? There is back propagated to this. The weights between the input layer and output. How these weights are affecting my errors. How much sensitivity is there? For a given small change in this weight, how much my error is going to change. Likewise, for a given small change in this weight, how much my error is going to change. That's what we already computed this. Okay, this dou E by dou WH. Now we are going to compute dou E by dou IH. Okay, for that, WIH, sorry. WIH, we have to compute. So for that, we are proceeding the same manner, back propagated chain rule. Okay, chain rule we are going to implement. Chain rule of calculus, again we are. Now if you look at this first term, this we have already computed, but there is one slight problem here. Look at this case. Yeah, for any one of the hidden neuron, okay, if you look at, it is connected with all the output layers. Okay, so there is an error associated with each one of the output neurons. It is E1, E2, likewise EP is there. So we need to have what you call, when you are going to compute this, how this error changes with respect to this f of ZHK for any one of the neuron, we need to look into all of these weights, okay, along with how the error is getting back propagated. So for that, we have to perform this one. J equal to 1 to P dou EK by dou YJK. But how this dou YJK changes with respect to dou F ZHK, we need to take all the output neurons. Why? Each one of the hidden neuron is connected to all the output layers. Okay, all the output neurons, neurons in the output layer. So naturally, we need to compute this summation. Okay, this summation we need to compute. Then only we can compute this derivative. Okay, that's an important point. Okay, but for the previous case, it is not a scenario. But for this case, we need to compute this. The previous case, can you see it? For the output layer, okay, when you are going to compute this particular derivative, okay, dou EK by dou F YJK, every neuron there is only one error, no problem. Okay, but here in this case, every neuron is going to have one error, but the one hidden neuron, when you are going to compute the derivative of this dou EK by dou F ZHK, we need to take into account all these errors, E1, E2, E3, up to EP. That's because these weights are connected like this, because it's all the other output neurons. So naturally, we need to take this summation here. J equal to 1 to P dou EK, dou YJK, dou YJK, dou F. So if we compute this value, that's going to be like this. Okay, so this is a key idea. To compute this, what? This one. Dou EK by dou F ZHK. Dou EK by dou F ZHK. This one alone is going to be like this. And this one is nothing but f dash of ZHK. The same methodology we are going to employ, sigmoidal function derivative. And then dou ZHK is going to be nothing but f of xi. So I'll be getting something like this. Okay. So this is a term. This in fact we already computed from the previous layer. That's what I'm putting it here again. Okay, so minus EKJ, f dash of YJK, WHJK, and along with that, these two terms are also there. The entire term is now represented. This is called the error back propagation. Okay, so we'll see it again, more insights next class. But right now, this is a fundamental idea behind the derivation of back propagation learning network. Okay, anybody having difficulty in visualizing it? Okay, I'll stop here. We'll come back and see again. Maybe I will take one more class. Okay, with some problems we'll solve. And that time you'll understand very clearly. But go through the what you call the notations very clearly first. Understand the notations. Once you understand the notation, you'll be in a position to code it. Easily you can code this algorithm. Not a big deal. Okay, simply you have to add and do multiplication. That's all. Okay, this kind of addition subtraction can do it in the code. Python code you can write for this back propagation. Fine, I'll stop here. So far, any doubt?